Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So we will start with the Mangalacharan prayers. Am I audible? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Om Ajnanatimirandhasya
Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmita
Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutah Padkamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Let us now recite the invocation verses for Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is a very relevant picture for today. Shukadev Goswami is speaking Srimad Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj. Another picture. And then even more relevant for today is this picture of Suta Goswami speaking to all the rishis at Naimisharanya. So you can please unmute yourself and repeat if possible. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Narayanam Namaskritya
Narayanam Namaskritya
Chaiva Narottamam
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Tato Jayamudiraet
Tato Jayamudiraye
Saprayeshu Abhadreshu
Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu
Yam Bhagavata Sevaya
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Uttamah Shloke
Bhagavati Namashloke
Bhavati Naishtiki
Bhakti Naishtiki
Krishnaya Vasudevaya
Krishnaya Vasudevaya
Devaki Nandanaya Cha
Devaki Nandanaya Cha
Gopakumaraya
Gopakumaraya
Govindaya Namo Namaha.
Govindaya Namo Namaha.
Now we will recite the first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, which is also considered to be the Mangalacharan verse for Srimad Bhagavatam. Technically, the first three verses are, but we have been just reciting the first one, so we'll continue with that practice. So we already recited Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Janmadyasya yatonvayaditaratash chartheshvabhigyah swarat.
Janmadhasya yatonvayaditarata eva bhigyaswarat.
Tene brahma hridayadi kavaye muhyanti yat suraya.
तेने ब्रह्म हृदयादि कवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः
यो वारि मृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा
तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा
धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि
धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि.
Very nice. So now we will resume our discussion on the Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, you can mute yourself if you're not talking on the Zoom. So we are going to start from verse number 14. Very, very important topic today. And if we want to summarize the topic in one title today, the title shall be the uselessness of material pursuits, or material pursuits never lead to complete satisfaction. That could be the title of the topic. Okay, so we are going through the Srimad Bhagavatam verses, Canto 1, Chapter 4, and this is the second half, or the of Chapter 4. So it has 33 verses. We covered 13 verses earlier, which were primarily the questions by the sages to Suta Goswami. So Suta Goswami, if you remember the picture that was shown, is narrating Srimad Bhagavatam to so many rishis who are assembled at Naimisharanya to listen to Srimad Bhagavatam. And one of the questions that was posed, or two questions mainly that were posed. One is an easier question as to when did Vyasadeva, or in what yuga did Vyasadeva write the Srimad Bhagavatam? How did the Srimad Bhagavatam originate? So that was one question, in which yuga. And the second question is, what inspired Vyasadeva to write Srimad Bhagavatam? So that is the main question that will be partly answered in today's discussion, as to what inspired him to compose or write the Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, so we will use this sort of a format to show the verses and go through all the verses in in a summary, or kind of medium level detail. So we are in Canto 1, chapter number 4, and we will go from verse number 14 onwards. Hopefully we will complete all till the third last verse of the chapter, 33rd verse. Okay, so the 14th verse, Suta Goswami had been posed or given or asked all these questions. So the one question was that in which yuga did Vyasa compose or write the Srimad Bhagavatam, or what is the sort of the history of Vyasadeva? So that is being answered, at least the yuga part. So let us see this word. Suta Uvacha. So that is this. Suta Goswami starts speaking. So far it was Shaunakadi Rishis. Shaunaka Rishi was asking the questions. So that's what we covered last week. So this is Dvapare Samanu Prapte Tritiye Yuga Paryaye Jataha Parasharad Yogi Vyasavyam Kalaya Hare. So when was this spoken? So Suta Goswami starts speaking Dvapare Samanu Prapte. So at the beginning of Dwapar Yuga. So Dwapar Yuga is the third yuga. Satyug, then Treta Yuga, then Dwapar Yuga. Tritiye Yuga Paryaye. So when this third Yuga Paryaye means when it began. So on the cusp of the third Yuga, so before that is Treta Yuga, when it ended and the Dwapar Yuga began. Jatah Parasharad Yogi. So Jatah means he took birth from Parashar Rishi. So Vyasadeva is the son of Parashar Munī. So that history is being shown here. Jatah Parasharad Yogi. So Vyasadeva is the son of Parashar Munī. And Vasavyam means the mother is the daughter of Vasu. So there are 8 Vasus. I don't know much of the history. And one of them was Uparichara Vasu, and her daughter is Satyavati. And so she's a daughter of a Vasu who is a celestial, personality, but she was raised by a fisherman. So that is why Satyavati is known as a person of a lower birth or something like that. But actually, she is a very, very, qualified lady. So Parashar Muni and Satyavati, in the womb of Satyavati, Vyasadeva is born. So mother and father are Satyavati and Parashar Muni. Kalaya Hare. So Lord Hari is Lord Krishna, and Vyasadeva is a Kala. Kala means avatar. We had discussed this few classes back. Ete cha amsha kala pumsha. So of the Supreme Person, Pumsha, there are amshas and kalas. So we had discussed. Srila Prabhupada translates this as plenary portions and portions of the plenary portions, but there are 2 levels of incarnations. So he is a kala of Lord Krishna. So that is what is discussed here. And just some more sort of context from, again, various commentaries, that Vyasadeva, this is being talked, this yuga cycle. So there are 4 yugas in a yuga cycle. This is occurring in the 28th yuga cycle of the current Vaivasvata Manu. So that manvantara is going on. And in the 28th yuga cycle, the 28th yuga cycle is going on out of 71. So in the 28th yuga cycle out of 71, so almost somewhere in the, you can say, not close to half of the manvantara, but a little bit before that. So that is what is going on. Okay, so in that yuga, Vyasadeva was born at that time. So Vyasadeva had a pretty long life, almost lasting all of the Dwapara Yuga. Now, there are different commentaries. One of the commentaries say that Vyasadeva was born towards the end of Dwapara Yuga. So again, we can reconcile that at a different time by looking at it more deeply. Okay, now comes the second question, that what inspired? This is the rest of the chapter from 15 to 33. What inspired Vyasadeva to compose the Srimad Bhagavatam? What was the inspiration? This is very, very important. So it's a story. So we will hear this story. So all stories start with Kadachit. Okay, today we want to sing the Jagannath Ashtakam. It also starts with Kadachit. Kadachit means once upon a time. So a story is starting. So, Sa Kadachit Saraswatya Upasprishya Jalam Shuchihi Vivikta Eka Asina Udite Ravi Mandale. So this verse, what does it mean? Kadachit Saraswatya. Saraswatya means on the banks of river Saraswati. And this place is known as Badrikashram. So now the Saraswati river has disappeared, but of course there is a place near Badrinath in modern day Uttarakhand, and there are a lot of tributaries of the Ganges that are flowing there. So there is a tributary. I don't know if that is still called the Saraswati river or not, but in Badrikashram at that time, on the banks of Saraswati river, At one time, Upasprishya Jalam Shuchi, after purifying himself, Shuchi, after purifying himself with the waters of the Saraswati river, Vivikta Eka Asina. This is a very important line. Vivikta Eka Asina. He sat down in concentrating, meditating, Udite Ravi Mandale, when the sun was rising early in the morning, he was meditating. And we will see next what he is meditating on. What he is meditating on, and this is Vyasadeva. So Vyasadeva is meditating on how to do good for the world. How to do good for the world. So it's a very important lesson for all of us, that we must spend time in our life sitting quietly at some time, periodically, and contemplating, introspecting what is going on with our life. Now, these days in Kaliyuga, our lives are going so fast. There is a long list of to-do items in everybody's to-do list. And, we just, at least that's what I see in my life and in my family and everything. It's like you get up in the morning and you start running with your things. And when you feel sleepy, your list is not yet done and you fall asleep and the cycle continues. So honestly, how many times do we pause and sit in solitude and meditating, not just thinking what I should do next, not looking at our list and seeing what are the high priority items, but just meditating on what is good for me? How many of us do that? Anybody has done that in the last 6 months? So that is what Maharshi Vedavyasa is doing here. And he is not thinking about what is good for me. I asked you what is good for me. That is because first we have to make ourselves purified, and then we can think about others. So we will see next what he is meditating on. So we don't even think about what is good for me, let alone think about what is good for my neighbors. That's next level. Next level could be what is good for my country. And what is good for my country may not be good for somebody else's country. And that's why all the conflicts happen. Look at what is happening these days in the world. And then finally it comes to what is good for the whole world or even for the whole universe. So that is the level we can grow to thinking. So let us see what Vyasadeva is going to think about. So we must, and I will talk about this point more, that we should sit down and think, take some time, step back, put away all our to-do lists, because our to-do lists will only tell us what we have written down. It won't tell us something completely out of the box, as they say. That, oh my God, I'm in this rat race. I'm running behind something and my to-do list is driving me like crazy. I should give it up. And maybe, some people, that's how they come up with a complete change of career or a change of direction in their life. It does not come from a to-do list of anyone. It comes from an internal inspiration. So that is what Maharshi Vedavyasa is sitting down and doing. Yeah, maybe I can talk about it now itself. Who knows, there will be time later or not. That according to the our shastras and our procedure, our practices, the day of Ekadashi is meant for this purpose. And when we say on Ekadashi, what is the most common practice we do on Ekadashi? When we say Ekadashi, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Fasting from what? Grains and beans. The purpose of that is not to become creative as to how to cook nice dishes without grains and beans, but the purpose is to keep the stove and kitchen closed and eat Vedic fast food. Fast food is like, quick, which is fruits and milk or nuts or whatever. So spend as little time as possible on that, and spend time to step back and sit down and contemplate what is good for me, my family, my community, my country, and the whole world, depending on wherever your level of thinking is. If Mahatma Gandhi is sitting there, he would think what's good for the country. If you are whatever, some local, temple president, you will think about, what's good for the community, for the local community, like that. So that is very, very necessary. And I always tell, maintain a journal, write it down, because things come to mind and then they go away. Even in science, good researchers maintain a good journal of their thoughts that come to their mind. If you don't write it down, I'm just overlaying a sort of a modern or what I have learned in my professional career on how that can be used. Those tools can be used for our spiritual progress. So it's very important to look back, step back, look back, think quietly, and at some points write things down and see what changes need to be made in our life. Okay. So with that, we will go to verse number 16. So let us see. So Vyasadeva is sitting early in the morning. Are you able to visualize? And early in the morning, he is sitting and thinking what something. So let us see what he is thinking. So next verse, number 16. Paravaragyah sa rishihi kalena vyakta ramhasa yugadharma vyatikaram praptam bhuvi yuge yuge. So what is the meaning of this? Paravaragya means one who knows the past, present, and future. So Vedavyasa Rishi is like that. He knows everything. At a high level, he knows. Sa Rishihi, this Rishi called Vedavyasa, Kalena Avyakta Ramhasa, that he knows that the force of time, Kala, is very strong. And what it does, Yuga Dharma Vyatikaram, it destroys. The force of time destroys or creates disturbances in the Yuga Dharma. So every Yuga has a Dharma. So the Yuga Dharma of Kaliyuga, at one level, at the transcendental level, it is Nama Sankirtana. But at a material level, it is Karma, Dana, Tapa, Yagya. So that is the Dharma of Kaliyuga. One should do Dana, one should do some detachment, austerity, one should do Yagya, and one should do his activities properly. So all these things will be disturbed. Disturbance will come, which means cheating will, all these things we will see. Cheating will come, laziness will come, all these things will come in our duties in Kali Yuga. Praptam bhuvi yuge yuge. In each yuga, this happens. Even in Satyuga, you will find some people who are not able to, or there is less influence of time. In Kali Yuga, there is maximum influence of time to create these anomalies, to create these disturbances. So Vyasadeva could see, and he is knows that Kali Yuga is approaching. So what I should do? So let us see what he does next. Number 17. So he is again, here we see some very, some characteristics of Kali Yuga. So bhautikanam cha bhavanam. So Vyasadeva knows bhautikanam cha bhavanam. Bhautik means what we can see with our eyes, material. I mean, of course, bhava is also material. And bhavanam, what is inside? Our bhav. Andar kya hai, bahar kya hai, sab malum hai humko. Sab dikhta hai. What is outside, bhautika and bhava. Bhautikanam cha bhavanam. Shakti Ramscha tat kritam. So, and that is degraded, that whatever is outside and whatever is inside is degraded by the force of time. And what does that make people into? So there are 5 things. So let us point it out. Shraddhadhanan. So they become faithless. No faith in the spiritual activities. Then nihi sattvan, no mode of goodness. Sattva means mode of goodness. So nihi sattvan means no mode of goodness. Durmedhan. So medha means intelligence or wisdom. Durmedham, which means intelligence is there, but it is misdirected. People are very intelligent, but they are intelligent in how to cheat others, how to kill others, coming up with creative ways to create disturbance. Durmedham. And Hrisat Ayushaha, which means short-lived. Their lives are short. So they don't have much time left to rectify. Once they are on a path, they are on a slippery slope and they keep going. And finally, Durbhagamsha. So Durbhagam, so they are unlucky. They are, they are carrying a lot of Durbhaga. Janan Viksha. Munir Divyena Chakshusha Sarva Varnashramanam Yad Dadhyo Hitam Amoghadrik. And this Muni, our Muni, who is our Muni? Vyasaji. Divyena Chakshusha, with his Divya Chakshu, because he can see past, present, and future. He's seeing this will be the condition of people in Kaliyuga. And therefore, and not only of lower, people with lower intelligence, Sarva Varnashramanam, of all Varnas, even Brahmins will be corrupted. The topmost of the societal sort of structure. They will all be corrupted. And then he thought, Dadhyao Hitam, how to do Hit. Hitam means welfare. So here in all these verses, he is describing the vices of Kaliyuga. And then he is being very compassionate. He's being very kind and compassionate. How he's being very kind and compassionate? He's thinking how to do welfare for all these, how to do good for all these people. That is what he's sitting down in solitude, alone and thinking. So that is his mood. That is what he's thinking, how to do good for the whole world, all people in the world. So that was his thought. Okay. Then, so what did he do? So let us see what was the solution. So now is the solution. One second. Yeah. So this is text number 19. 19 to 25 is the solution. So what is the solution he comes up with? The solution that he comes up with is to write down what are the teachings. If you have a problem, you need a solution, isn't it? But if you don't even know the solution, if you don't have the solution handy, how will you execute the solution? So the first step is to document the solution. And what is the solution? The solution is all mentioned in the Vedas. But the Vedas were not written down by that time. And they were being passed by memory. And he knew the condition of the people in Kaliyuga. They are dull-witted. We saw that, no? What was the word that was used? Durmedha, which means their intelligence is, they will remember all the other things, they will remember whom to cheat, all the processes of cheating they will remember, but the processes of purification they cannot remember, which are given in the Vedas. So he started documenting all those procedures in the Vedas. So that is what he started doing. And then he organized it, not only documented it, but organized it very nicely. He not only just wrote the books, he created institutions where those books are taught. So the whole structure he created, not just writing the books and putting it up there, okay, whoever in a library. No, he created a whole structure of a university, so to say, a school, created teachers and professors and so on, who would teach them properly, the whole structure to educate society. Education is the best way to solve any kind of societal problem. It may not be the immediate solution, but it is the best long-term solution. So that is what he did. So, chaturahotram karma shuddham prajanam vikshya vaidikam vyadadhad yagya santatyai vedam ekam chaturvidham. So what did he do? So chaturahotram karma shuddham. So to purify our activities in these 4 areas, like I told, yagya, dana, karma, tapa. In all these areas which the Vedas, majority portion of the Vedas talk about these things. To purify all these activities, prajanam vikshya vaidikam. So upon seeing this condition, fallen condition of the praja, of the people, vyadadhad yagya santatyai, that he to make sure that these processes of the Vedas are deeply entrenched within the society. They are not lost ever. There is no possibility of being so. He very nicely kind of embedded it or grafted it into the society. How? First thing that he did was Vedam Ekam Chaturvidham. He took the one Veda, and that is known as originally the Yajur Veda. Was the one first, it was only one Veda, and it was Yajur Veda. He divided it into, he started creating division, organized in an organized way. So each Veda deals with certain type of topics. I don't know again all the details, but he divided them according to various properties. So he made one Veda into 4. Next, we will see the names of those 4 Vedas. Yeah, is there a question? Okay. So we will see the names of the Vedas. Rig, Yajur, Sama, and Atharva. So these are the 4 Vedas. So these are the 4 divisions or the 4 Vedas that he created. Rig, Yajur, Sama, Atharva, Kya, Vedash, Chatvar, Udhritah, Itihasa Puranam cha, Panchamo Veda Uchyate. So how many Vedas are there in this, according to this verse? 5 Vedas, Panchamo. And what is the 5th Veda? Itihasa and the Puranas. So he made these 4 Vedas, and this is the 5th Veda, which is basically a collection of all the Puranas, plus Itihasa, which was the main Itihas that he wrote, Mahabharat. So he documented this also, and we will see why he documented the Puranas and the Mahabharat. So the Vedas contain all these sort of, mainly it contains theory. But the best way to learn is through stories and examples. And that is what is contained in the Puranas and Mahabharata also. You see, and Mahabharata is an itihas. It is not just a story. It is a history, because it is very useful to learn from history. Why do we teach history in the schools? Not so that, you can, it's not just information, because history repeats itself. So you get to understand how people behave, and you get an overall vision. Today, if you are behaving badly, you think you can get away. But by reading history books, you can understand so many examples. They also thought that, and then what was their fate? So you get conviction in your heart that no, it doesn't work. It didn't work for all those people. It is highly unlikely to work for me as well. So that is what is seen in the history books. So that is why documenting, so we can see Dhritarashtra, what a, blind person he was, completely, even his thinking was also blind. He thought so much that maybe I will be successful, maybe I will be successful. And he kept losing all the time. So that is what was going on in the Mahabharata. So documenting all this and understanding this is very, very important. So this is the 5th Veda that he documented. I'm looking at my notes to see if anything else. Yeah. Okay. Then we will go to 21. I'm going fast because I want to complete the chapter and also, be within the time limit. And most important portions are coming towards the later half of these verses. Then what he did? Now he has written down the Vedas. He has organized the Vedas into various categories, written them down, right? So the documentation part has been done. Now he is creating those institutions in which they will be taught so that these are never lost. So, Tatrarga Vedadharaha Pailaha Samago Jaiminih Kavih Vaishampayana Evaiko Nishnato Yajusham Uta. So here we see three Vedas, Tat, Rig. So we see here, Rig Veda, Dharaha, Pailaha. So there is Paila Rishi. He gave it to him, saying that you be the owner of this Veda and you make sure that it is nicely taught to the students. So Paila Rishi was given the ownership and complete authority to propagate it into the world. Then Samaveda, Samago Jaimini Kavihi. So to Jaimini Rishi, Samaveda. So the Rig Veda to Paila Rishi, Samaveda to Jaimini Rishi. Kavihi means a Rishi or a very learned person. Vaishampayana Evaiko Nishnato Yajushamuta. And to Vaishampayan Rishi, he gave the Yajurveda, so that it becomes completely entrenched in the society. And however bad Kaliyuga gets, it is not lost. So far, we are like 5,000 or plus years into Kaliyuga. It is still there. We don't know about future. But societies like ISKCON and so many other Vaishnava societies, they are carrying forward the torch and, making it, keeping it alive. And that is why distributing Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and the other books is very important. It's, if one country gets bombed or, whatever, it will be there. It needs to be available worldwide so that the chances of it being lost are reduced or diminished. Okay. And then, so three Vedas we discussed, Rig, Sama, and Yajur. So fourth one, Atharva. Atharva Veda, Atharva Angirasam Asita Sumantur Daruno Munihi Itihasa Purananam Pitame Roma Harshana. So this is talking about the fourth one, which is Atharva Veda, was given to Angira Rishi. And he's very Daruno. Daruno means very laser focused, because it seems that Atharva Veda contains a lot of the very intense topics, like how to,
more of scientific topics.
Scientific, but yes, what is science in the Vedic terminology also we have to understand, how to, various kind of curses. One, you can call it like black magic, or kind of very, for good purposes. If there is a very demoniac person, how to control him so that he doesn't do, today's, what is the solution? Put them in a jail. So you put them behind bars. But how do you, best is if you can just, mentally control them so that they're in a mental jail, so to say. Whatever, all these procedures needs very intense, an intense owner, and that was Angira Rishi. Anyway, and finally, the fifth one, which is the Itihasas and Puranas, were given to Pitame. Who is speaking this? Suta Goswami. And who is the father of Suta Goswami? Romaharshana. Yeah. So it was given to Romaharshana. So now you can understand Suta Goswami, who is speaking, he's a complete insider. His father was the owner of the fifth Veda, especially the Puranas. So he is such a qualified and a perfect person to speak Srimad Bhagavatam to the rishis of Naimisharanya. So he is, that is why all the rishis of Naimisharanya were so excited on seeing Suta Goswami, that he has arrived and he is going to tell us Srimad Bhagavatam, perfect person, the son of the original owner after Vedavyasa, Krishna Dvaipayana Vedavyasa. After him, the owner was Romaharshana and then Suta Goswami. So Suta Goswami received this from his father, or of course he heard it from
Shukadev.
All right. So all this was done. And then what did they do? Now you will see the university system in this verse. So, ta eta rishayo vedam swam swam vyasyan anekadha shishyai prashishyais tat shishyair Vedas te shakhino bhavan. So, all these rishis who received the ownership of the Vedas, ta eta rishayo vedam swam swam vyasyan anekadha, that they further categorized it, made it into chapters or sections and all that of those Vedas that they were given the ownership of. And in that way gave certain sections or chapters to one shishya. Then pra-shishyair, they gave it to this whole system, So departments, you can say science is one department. So then you break it up into chemistry, physics. Then there is engineering department. You break it up into mechanical engineering, civil engineering, whatever, like this, And in physics department, you can have, optics, you can have whatever else, mechanics. You can keep dividing it further and you can have various shishya, prashishyair, tat shishyair, their shishyas. They became expert in their own areas. So can you see how this whole system was created to preserve the knowledge of the Vedas? Vedas te shakhino bhavan, like this, all the shakhas. Shakhas means the branches, right? So you have the main one Veda, what was originally known as Yadur Veda, 4 Vedas, and then their branches like this. All this was going on. And of course, the Puranas and Itihasas. So this whole system was created. So can you imagine? So where did this all start? Why are we discussing this? How did it all start? One fine day. Kadachit. What happened one fine day? Quick revision.
He was
Sat on the bank of Saraswati. Vyasadeva, yes. And he thought,
For the welfare of the world, he was meditating.
what is the thing to do for the welfare of the world? Because dark times are arriving.
Yeah, he could see.
Times are arriving. So what should I do for the welfare of the world? So he not only thought that now this whole thing we have covered many years and decades in this whole few verses. He wrote it down. He created this system and their shishya, prashishya, tat shishya, all these disciples, grand disciples, great grands. That's how you can see Srila Prabhupada has translated disciples, grand disciples, great. All these have appeared also. And this whole system is flourishing. So he imagined it. He did the documenting and creation and then assembled a team. And that whole team is taking it forward. All this execution was also achieved by Vedavyasa. Can you imagine how great work he did? So this is, please try to let it sink in. Try to let it, if you were asked to do this, think how much effort it is.
Super visionary.
If one Mataji asks, can you give me the recipe of one thing? To write it nicely, how much effort it is, Mataji? So that it can be nicely, it can be nicely replicated. How much effort it is? To write one book. Anybody has written a book here? It is a lot of effort. Can you imagine? Let it sink in.
I
Let it
I
sink
wrote, Prabhuji.
into your how much effort.
I will
It took 3 years.
I will give you water.
Wonderful.
I will give water.
You can mute. So let it sink in. What was the herculean effort done by Vedavyasa? Okay. Why I am saying this, it will be obvious in just a few minutes. Okay. So, why he did it? Why he did this herculean task? Just
For the benefit of the humanity.
For the benefit of humanity. Tad eva Veda durmedhair dharyante purushair yatha evam chakara bhagavan Vyasah kripana vatsalaha. So kripana vatsala. Kripana means one who is very miserly is one translation, but miserly because why is one miserly is considered because he has no intelligence. Ultimately, miserliness hurts your own self. So people are not intelligent. They can't think too far ahead. So because of this lack of intelligence, the people, then you, after a certain point, you feel sorry for them. So therefore, the Kripana Vatsala you can think of as those who are fallen people. Vatsala means one who is very kind to them. Like Bhagwan is called as Bhakta Vatsala, means one who is very kind to the Bhaktas. So Vyasa, Kripana Vatsala, Vyasadeva was very kind to the fallen people. And because of that, what he did, he did this for the Durmedhair, same word which was used before, for these less intelligent or misdirected people who could not understand the Vedas. This great compilation, Eva Chakara Bhagavan. So he did all this, Herculean task for the benefit of the people. And in the 25th verse, not only for people who can understand the Vedas, he also thought of the even more less intelligent people. So here it is called Stri Shudra Dwija Bandhu Nam Trayi Na Shruti Gochara Karma Shreyasi Mudhanam Shreya Evam Bhavediha Iti Bharatam Akhyanam Kripaya Munina Kritam. So for these less intelligent, even less intelligent people, and of course, it's a big topic. Three is mentioned here. So we can have a separate discussion about that. But mainly it is not talking about the fact that by birth, it is that Stri is there, but because they are generally in the past culture, they were not given very good education or opportunities to go influence society. So sitting at home, instead of reading the Vedas and then getting confused, what was done for them? Iti Bharatam Akhyanam. Bharatam here is referring to Mahabharata. So Mahabharata and the Puranas are for, so they can get the same knowledge. The same knowledge you can get from the Vedas, you can get from Mahabharata and the Puranas, but in a much more easy to understand way. And therefore, these were given to the people who didn't have that opportunity of higher education. And Dwija Bandhunam means those who were originally Brahmanas, but they became fallen because of their, effect of Kaliyuga. So the fallen Brahmanas, because of they ultimately, the Brahmana, Vaishya, Shudra, Kshatriya is because of qualities, is because of one's nature or one's attitude. It is not by birth. So one can be a Brahmana and can become a Shudra if he starts indulging in all kind of nonsense activities. So for such people also, now they also cannot understand Veda, even though they may be born in a Brahmana family. So for them also, so basically all kinds of the whole structure was created for all classes of people. What today we call as no child left behind. That's a US policy of education. There is a system of education for all kind of children. If you are a talented child, you can get higher level of education. If you are a little slow, you can also get good education at your level. So he created this. No child left behind was created by Vedavyasa, not by some recent person. Okay. So can you see how much work has been put into this? Okay. Now, here comes, let me put it in this, let me dramatize it a little bit. Here is the big twist. What is the big twist? So can you now imagine, recall how much work was done by Vedavyasa? Just by that one thought, one day, kadachit, when he sat down, and this was his life's work, to create this whole system. And then what happened? Evam pravrittasya sada bhutanam shreyasi dwija sarvatmakenapi yada natushyad hridayam tataha. So, natushyad hridayam tataha. So, in spite of doing evam pravrittasya sada bhutanam shreyasi dvija, bhutanam shreyasi, for all the living entities, he has done this great work. Like Mahatma Gandhi, he did great work for people of India, one country. One can say he did it for the whole world also, because at many places in the world, that model of non-violence and everything was followed. So you can say, like in corporate culture, we say, oh, are you trying to solve world hunger? Eradicate hunger from the world. Would that be a noble project? World-changing project? So here he did an even bigger project. Not only eradicate hunger, but to eradicate the bad tendencies, all the cheating propensity, everything that is evil could be eradicated, not just hunger, by this whole system that Vedavyasa created. So he did the mother of all projects. That is what is meant. And then what happened? After even doing all of this, natushyad hridayam tata. One fine day he felt hollowness in his heart. Na atushyad. Atushya means to be satisfied. Hridaya. In his heart, he felt some dissatisfaction, deep dissatisfaction. In his heart. Can you imagine what a blow it will be to a person? You have spent your life doing something, thinking that, yes, this is the purpose of my life. And after completing that, you feel dissatisfied. That was the situation of Vedavyasa. And that is the biggest hollowness. One, and this is what I say often, we must, while at least those who are young, they have some time, like, aeroplane has some runway to take off successfully. While you have time, think about what one's life should be about, and then do something. Most of us do not do that. I just asked how many have sat back and thought, what should be the purpose of my life? Sit down in a solitude and think. Nobody said yes. So the point I'm trying to bring out is the depth of the hollowness. So for such a person who has never even thought, even such a person feels very hollow at the end of his life. Many times. It's written in many biographies and so many, what have I done with my life? Now I don't have time left to undo it, to rewind it and redo something and do something else. That is one level of dissatisfaction at the end of life. What have I done with my life? If I got a second chance, I would have definitely done something else. It's a very hollow feeling to have. Once your runway has run out, now you have no more runway left. It's even more dissatisfying if you did this exercise, you found a calling, you executed it successfully, but at the end of it, you feel that, oh, I'm still dissatisfied. Do you agree that is more dissatisfying? Huh? That was the situation of Vedavyasa. So it's very not only dissatisfying, one can say it's unfair. मैंने ये किया, मैंने वो किया, मैंने ये भी किया, वो भी किया, फिर भी ऐसा हुआ. Can you see that? Whatever I just now said in Hindi, you will see Vedavyasa ji will say that in Sanskrit. ये भी किया, वो भी किया, वो भी किया, फिर भी कुछ नहीं हुआ, फिर भी संतोष, santushti, satisfaction in the heart did not occur. So let us see. So that is the reason is because he tried to solve the material problems of the people of the world. There you could see there, these are all material problems of Kaliyuga. People are durmedha and they are misdirected. And what was one more thing?
Short-lived.
Short-lived, you cannot do, okay, true, but there are no mantras to elongate your life. The other one that I was mentioning was, it just came to my mind and went
Less intelligent.
Yeah.
Tripana buddhi.
Sattvan, not in the mode of goodness. So that is something that can be done. Changing your mind or intelligence is something that can be done. And bringing one to the mode of goodness can also be done. So that was his purpose, but all this is at a material level. Now, of course, there was a spiritual or bhakti in the Vedas, in the Puranas, in the Mahabharata, but it was not, the proportion of this material activities was way more than that. You had to almost like look with a microscope to find it. I was some months back, I used to read Mahabharata, and I have an example that after the, I think I have shared this, after the Rajasuya Yagya that Yudhishthir Maharaj did, this was before the Mahabharat war, when they got Indraprastha and they said, you know, we should do Rajasuya Yagya, and they did that and everything. Then there has to be like a, what you call, a chairperson of the, like a chief honor, guest of honor for the Yagya. And there were so many great personalities from whom they had to select the guest of honor, so to say. I'm just making a title, English title. And then there's a whole, like, several chapters in Mahabharat on whom to select as the guest of honor. So they thought, can Bhishma be? Oh, no, not him. And there was one person in the assembly who was Shri Krishna.
Lord Krishna.
After a lot of discussion, they said, no, let us have Shri Krishna as the guest of honor. And then there were very legitimate reasons that were given why he should be the guest of honor. Because he is the supreme person himself. I looked for that in the Mahabharata. It was mentioned. It should have been the obvious choice and there should not be any discussion. But there was all this discussion and finally they selected him to be the guest of honor. So his position, Bhagwan Shri Krishna's position was kind of hidden. It is like, you know, in, let us say in India, if you have to select who is the father of the nation, then you can go around all the leaders and then say, no, Mahatma Gandhi should be father of nation. That's like a insult to Mahatma Gandhi, isn't it? So that is the position of all the Vedas and all the other, that the position of Lord Krishna or Lord Narayan is not directly and just it's not very obviously presented. So that is the reason why he was feeling dissatisfied. He's the one who has written all this. So he could have magnified that, but he did not. His whole mode was how to get people to mode of goodness, which is good, but it does not create satisfaction of the heart. And then also we will come to not only heart, we will see here satisfaction of the soul, of the Atma, it will be mentioned. So let us move forward. 27. Okay. And then, so when he felt this dissatisfaction, what do you think he did? What is the
He
one?
wrote Bhagavatam.
Sure, that will come later. What is the one? I'm just dramatizing this a little. What is the one thing he knows? What did he do in the beginning?
Meditate.
Meditate. So again, he knows that that technique works. So he again went to meditate. So we will see here. Na ati prasidat hridayaha. So on being, ati prasida. Prasida means to be satisfied, to feel happy. Not feeling that happiness in his hridaya. Hridayaha. Saraswatyam tate shuchau. Same thing. You see, that was there in the previous, on the banks of Saraswati river in the Badrika Ashram place. Sitting there, shuchau, he again purified himself with the waters of Saraswati river. Vitarkayan viviktastha idam cho vacha dharmavit. And then he began to vitarkayan. Tarka means to reason, to contemplate on the, in a vivikta stha, at a very in a solitary place. And then he began to think as to what happened. Why did I not feel satisfied? And let us see what are the first few thoughts that come into his mind. So what are the first few thoughts that will come to his mind? Like I had said, of course, I have read the chapter. So I know, if you read it, you'll also know. I did this, I did that. What more you want me to do? So like a kind of like a, what should I say? Complain, yes. Yes, Mother, what do you say? Frustration, complaint, those kind of thoughts. And the point to understand here is that that is okay. So as we do our spiritual life, sometimes the frustrations will come. Let it out. Don't again get frustrated as to why am I getting these frustrating thoughts in my mind. I listened in the temple, you have to be calm, you have to be, these frustrating thoughts are bad, I'm a bad person. No, this is Maharshi Vedavyasa. If he is having this, it is perfectly okay for us to have it. Let it out, let it come, no problem. So we will see 3 verses are there. All his complaints, all his frustration is coming out. So let us see. 28, 29, and 30. Dhrita vratena hi maya chamdamsi guravo agnayaha manita nirvyalikena grihitam cha anushasanam bharatavyapadeshena hya amna yarthash cha pradarshitaha drishyate yatra dharmadhi stri shudribhir apya uta. So what it means? Hrita vratena hi maya. See, look at the word maya. Maya, I have done. What I have done? Dhrita vratena. I took a strong vow, vrata. I was very disciplined. And Chamdamsi, and who all I worshipped. So before dividing the Vedas and writing them down, he worshipped the Vedas, the Chamdamsi, that's the Vedas, to Guru and to Agni. So he did a very, very meticulous, proper procedure, exercise with a strong determination he did. Manita means I worshipped them. And Nirvyalikena, which means that no malice. No malice in the heart. I did not have any hidden agenda. As if like, I want many disciples. It's not for any hidden agenda or anything that I did, or, my name and fame will be there. Jab tak Suraj Chand rahega, tera naam, whatever. It's not for anything like that I did. I did not have any malintent in my heart. With a very pure heart, I did all these things. Grihitam cha anushasanam. And I observed anushasan in a very disciplined way. I did it. So can you see, like he's saying, like what great effort he's feeling all this. And then he compiled Bharata Vyapadeshen. I also compiled the Mahabharata. And here Amna Yatharscha Pradarshitaha, to show the path of Drishyate Yatra Dharmadi, to show the path of Dharma. Mahabharata is considered to be the topmost Dharma Shastra. If you want to learn what is the correct Dharma, you should get it from Mahabharata. Bhagavatam is Bhakti Shastra. Dharma Shastra is Mahabharata. So for the establishment of Dharma, I wrote it for the upliftment of Stri, Shudra, Adi, etc., etc. All the, people who are considered to be less intelligent, who cannot understand Vedas and all those high stuff, who don't have that formal education. For those people, I wrote the easy stuff to get the same understanding. I did so much. Can you see? I did so much. Maya. This is the key word, Maya. I did it. Maya. I. And then next verse. Tathapi batamed hridayo hya atma chaivatmana vibhu asampan iva bhati brahma varchasya sattamaha. So, tatha api batame hridayo hriya atma chaivatmana vibhu. So, that which lives in the body, that eternal spark, vibhu. Vibhu means that is the spiritual spark that lives in the daihyo, in the body. Who is that spiritual entity that lives in the body? It's not the mind. It's not, we say our mind is satisfied.
Paramatma.
We don't even say our heart is satisfied. It's not the buddhi, it's not the man, it's not even the ahankar, because directly it is being said here, it's the spiritual resident within the body. The soul is dissatisfied. We cannot even decipher whether our mind is dissatisfied or anything. Soul, we don't have any even connection to detect. There is no, at least with my spiritual level of practice, I have no access to knowing whether my soul is satisfied or not. At best, if I think hard, I can realize whether my mind is satisfied, whether my heart is satisfied. He could see that my soul is also dissatisfied. Asampanna. Asampanna means incomplete. Sampanna कहते हैं ना, कार्य संपन्न हुआ. संपन्न हुआ मतलब कार्य पूरा हुआ, complete. Asampanna means that feeling of incompleteness. This is the key word. Incompleteness. He was feeling incompleteness. And then Brahma Varchasya Sattamaha. Even this is like a, like Maya. Even though I am the supreme Vedantist, I am the one who knows inside out of the Vedas, and I myself am feeling, this one. It's like, that person, what's that, Dale Carnegie, he wrote a very famous book. What was the book he wrote? How to Win Friends, Influence People, and he died a lonely man. Isn't it? When he died, it seems, I don't know all the details, but it seems he was like very lonely and he had no friends. And his book, which is world famous, has sold millions and millions of copies, talks about how to have friends. Like that, I am the topmost Vedantist. And I myself am feeling incomplete, where I have written about how to feel complete in life. ये क्या हो गया? ये तो सब, everything has been turned upside down. So now we will see. So one point I want to again stress upon here is that, again, like we discussed a few minutes back, we are discussing Canto 1, Chapter 4, okay, the dissatisfaction of Nārada Munī. Vyasadeva, sorry, the disciple of Nārada Munī. We will see Nārada Munī will make a grand entry. So, what was I saying? Yeah, because he highlighted the materialistic procedures, the karma kanda aspects in the Vedas and all those things, even dharma. But the spiritual aspect, and Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur directly says that spiritual aspect here means bhakti. Was not, and it's not just he's saying, it's obvious right from page 1, verse 1 to the last verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. It's all about bhakti. So because that was not highlighted, that is the reason for his dissatisfaction. So anything material, I bet you, I assert, name me one person who is fully satisfied in his life with everything. Everything is fully satisfied. Nobody. Not even a single person. I have, like, I'll tell you, just because my children and all are kind of in this sort of, there is something known as International Mathematics Olympiad. It picks the brightest children in mathematics in high school in the world. And to do that is like mind-boggling. There is one, and such people, I'm going to talk about one person, his name is Luke. Appear like once in 50 years. Of course, there are few people who get gold medal every year. That's fine, you can say every year. But this kind of person, I'm going to tell you, appears once in 50. He is the second person in history of the IMO, which has been going on for more than 50 years, to get 4 gold medals in a row. 4 of them. So I was talking to his mother. We had traveled to Norway where the 2022 competition was held. And again, I don't know if I should say all this on the recording, personal details, but well, it is, you can look it up. The other person who did this, and he was guaranteed a gold medal. That was not even a deal. Okay. That was a done deal. He's so bright. But the other guy who did it, he got a perfect score on his last attempt. He got a gold medal, but perfect score is like yet another, like next level, like all problems solved fully successfully. No mistakes at all. This person did not get that in his last attempt. That was his last attempt. You get 4 chances. He was sad about that. World-changing feat. He did not changing, but what, like once in 50-year feat, still there is dissatisfaction. Right. Gold medal. Here people would get like, die to get even close to that. There is dissatisfaction. Another story I will tell you. President of the United States. A very big post, a lot of satisfaction, and that too a very celebrated president. Very successful president. One of the successful presidents in recent history has been Ronald Reagan. Would you agree? He's credited with ending the Cold War. If you look at it just from his popularity, his elections, landslide election, like, 90% people voted for him. Not like today, 51-49. I have read his biography. I like reading biographies, all kinds of. He is dissatisfied because his son didn't used to talk to him properly. The best president, not like other presidents of these days who are not satisfied with their presidency. He was fully satisfied with his presidency. He accomplished great tasks. His dissatisfaction, one time his son hung up on him. And he writes, nobody hangs up on the president. Can you imagine somebody hanging up on the president? Have you hung up on anybody near and dear? I have. And I'm really angry with my children. His son hung up on him. And then he called many times. He didn't pick up the phone, the son. For 2 months or some really long period of time, he didn't pick up the phone. Can you imagine the plight of the most successful whatever, So nobody is satisfied. No, and I have some 3-4 examples, but we are running out of time, which I noted down. Well, the first one I gave because it's a personal, this is like first-hand example. Who knows what biographer writes or whatever. Of a very, very accomplished person in the world. That was a personal example I was giving. The second is a more like a historical example of dissatisfaction. So nobody is satisfied. Everybody has some dissatisfaction or the other. So how to get that deep satisfaction? That is the question. And then in 31st verse, he gets a hint of the answer. Kim va? क्या ऐसा हो सकता है? Maybe. Kim va? क्या ये ऐसा है? Are you following? Is it like this? Kim va bhagavata dharma na prayena nirupitah priyah paramahamsanam ta eva hya achyuta priyah. This is a very important verse of chapter 4. If you have to select one verse from this entire chapter, it would be the 31st verse. That is sort of the realization that is dawning upon Vyasadeva. A possibility. Is it this? Maybe this is now the real reason. Maybe it's this. So what it is saying, Kim va bhagavata dharma. That could it be that I have not na prayena nirupitah, that I have not described nirupitah, given it full roop, fully nirupitah means अच्छे से describe, अच्छे से उसको nirupita means to give it form, which means to describe it in detail. Bhagavat dharma, which is bhakti. Na prayena. I have not done that. Even though priyaha paramahamsanam, it's the most dear to paramahamsanam, and paramahamsanam means bhaktas, not the jnanis. It is more than obvious from entire Srimad Bhagavatam. It will be obvious right from the next chapter itself, where you will see next week. Priya, it is so dear to the devotees. The glory of Bhagavan, and not only it is dear to the devotees, it is dear ta eva hi achyuta priya. It is also dear to Lord Krishna. Achyuta is Lord Krishna. So the main thing which is dear to the devotees and the Lord, he did not describe it like in full detail. It was there, but it was like, you have to find it with a magnifying glass. Like I was telling that story of like, who should be the person of honor? Why there need to be so much discussion about it? It minimizes the position. It should be there like a big 1000-watt bulb, like a moon in a night sky. You're not trying to find which is the brightest star. Obvious it's there. That's the brightest thing. It should be as obvious as that. That is what he failed to do. And he's contemplating maybe that is so. Another point to be learned is when you sit down, every Ekadashi you should do this. Sit down and contemplate in your life where our life is going. And if any frustrations come up, let it come. We saw 3 verses. Ye kiya maine, wo kiya, all those things. And then a spark will come. If you sincerely introspect, it will come. And that is what happened in this case.
Prabhuji, can I ask a question?
We are almost done. So just hold your question for 2 more minutes. Okay, go ahead. Maybe we can. I wanted to expand a little bit more on this, but go ahead.
So, sorry, Prabhuji, quick one. Just for my understanding, Vedavyasa also wrote Vishnu Purana as well, right?
Yes.
So isn't Vishnu Purana the same around devotional service as well, or is that different?
No, it is not magnifying devotional service. It is magnifying the what we call Aishwarya or the opulence of Bhagavan, not the bhakti of Bhagavan.
Okay. Thanks, Prabhuji.
So now in the next 2 verses, a magic will happen. So 31st verse we have discussed that he did not really bring out what was dear to the devotees and to Lord Krishna, to Achyuta. So he thought maybe that's the reason. Okay, are you with me so far? Now, can you see the churn in his heart? And when the real sincere churn, please look at this, sincere churn. When sincere churn in heart occurs, then Lord shows the way. The Lord will send the answer. And the answer comes in the form of Guru. Guru will show up at your doorstep. But what is needed for that? A sincere churn of the problem. So first you must have a problem. Many of us don't even have a problem. Problem, I'm saying not like problem ki my son didn't call me. Like Ronald Reagan, not that problem. Problem means a big project that you have taken on, a meaningful purpose that you have taken on in your life. First, you have to have that. And then you have to be unsuccessful at that. And guaranteed you will be unsuccessful. Nothing is a cakewalk. That is what Vedavyasa ji did. And he felt incomplete. That was like a failure, a mega failure. And then the churn happens, and then the Guru comes, and that is the real purpose of Guru in one's life. Some people ask, one person asked, why do I need Guru? Then I gave a long answer, okay, this. But in my mind, I was thinking, well, if you don't have a problem, why do you need a tutor? People say, oh, I want a tutor. First, you have to have interest in studying. Then you have to start to solve a problem. I'm just talking math tutor. And then when you are stuck, then the tutor will help. Otherwise, what will the tutor do? He will give you a book. Okay, book is there, problems are there. Today, do chapter 3. All right. Yes, sir. Done chapter 3. Okay. Maybe he copied all the solutions from the back. Done, sir. Okay. Thank you. Next, do chapter 4. Tutor, free money. So people think, Guru, why I need Guru? All he does is comes and takes donation and goes away. Well, take a project on, fail. And then you will have real questions. And that is when Guru will play a real meaningful purpose in the life. You have to use the onus is on the Shishya to use the Guru. Guru will not come and spoon feed. So that is the purpose of Guru. And then Guru will automatically come, even if you don't want him to come. I'm not saying don't want him to come, but I mean, even if you don't call out, Guru, where are you? Even if you don't do that, as soon as you are stuck in your spiritual life, genuinely, Guru will show up in some form or the other. Definitely, the Lord will send the Guru to clear your way immediately. Sahasa, that will be the word used. Sahas means turant. Immediately, because the Lord is seeing. Okay, so let us see the next 32. Where is the word sahasa? Somewhere it is there. Here, 33rd, sahasa. So let us see 32. Tasyaivam khilam atmanam manyamanasya hidyataha krishnasya narado bhyagad ashramam prag udahritam. Like this. Tasyaivam khilam. Khila means akhila. Akhila means what? All over the place. Very, everywhere. Khila is the opposite. Like, tiny, small. So Vyasadeva was feeling khilam, atmanam. In his atma, he was feeling very small, very like down and out, like you can say. Completely like a failure he was feeling, depressed. Manya manasya khidyata. Khidyata means like khed. Doordarshan pe aata tha na, khed hai. Like he was feeling so sorry. He was feeling so regretful. He was regretting his own situation. Manya manasya in his mind. Krishnasya means Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasa. And to him, who came? Nārado Bhyagad. He immediately, or he came there, Nārada Munī came. And Nārada Munī is the guru of Vedavyasa. Ashramam Praga Udahritam. To the ashram of, immediately he came. Nārada Munī. And last verse for today. Yeah. Tam abhigyaya sahasa pratyuthaya agatam munihi pujayam asa vidhivan naradam surapujitam. So, tam abhigyaya sahasa, on seeing his sudden, or we can say sahasa, sudden or unexpected, unexpected arrival. He didn't call out to him yet. He may have after some time, but he arrived before he could call out. And as soon as he came, pratyuthaya agatam, he gave him all respect. He got up and pujayam as vidhivan, with all proper standards and etiquette he did. Puja, he offered great respect to his guru. Naradam Sura Pujitam. Nārada Munī is worshipped even by the demigods. Sura means the demigods. Even the demigods worship him. And kindly mute yourself on Zoom. And Vedavyasa immediately got up and paid all respect properly to Nārada Munī. So that brings us to the end of the chapter. Yeah. Seeing if what other notes are there. Yeah. So another big learning that we get from here is that those who are serious in spiritual life, they need a guru. If one is not serious, then guru just becomes like a status. Oh, I also have guru. Like, all these, sometimes all these, I have one of my, acquaintances is a lawyer. How how lawyers get most of their business? Like, it's like an insurance policy. How many of you have insurance policy? Everyone, right? You may or may not use it. Similarly, all these big people, they could get into some legal troubles. Or even if they don't get into trouble, people sue them because they know they have a lot of money. So, kuch nahi, sue. For anything, you sue them so that you can, if something is successful, you will get some, money. So, all these big people have retainer lawyers. It's called retainer. Okay, you are my lawyer. Whenever, if and when I need it, I might use you. So today people have this retainer guru. Okay, I just need a guru. And that becomes a status symbol also among all the rich people. He's I have retained him. I have retained. It's like, how big of a New York firm have you retained? Becomes a status symbol. Oh, I have this guru. I have that guru. What's the use of that? So if one is serious about spiritual life, then guru is, of course, I'm not downplaying. So of course one has to be serious. Otherwise, what's the even point of even chanting or Shravana Kirtana at all if one is not serious? Then just better to, eat, drink, and be merry. At least you'll be happy in this life, or for how much ever time it lasts. Why, pretend to be a devotee and miss out on all the other good stuff? So seriousness in spirit, the purpose is not saying, okay, leave Krishna consciousness and go have a good life. But the purpose of this is to become serious, and then the guru plays an extremely, extremely important role. That is that's how it should be taken, not the other way around. Okay, it's like, why do I need a tutor? Okay, let me give up doing math. That's not the thing. That's not the point. Don't give up doing math. Do it seriously and get a tutor. Then you will do really well. That is the purpose. Okay. Okay, so it is 7:33. Are there now any questions or comments? Yes, Mataji.
Two questions I have. One is like, why Brahmanas are called dwija?
Because they are twice born. Dwija. Aja means to be born, and 2 times. So when one is the natural birth, and when they get initiated, then they get a second birth. So the question was, why Brahmanas are called dvijas?
The second question is, you said about the frustration of Vyasadeva. So, and you showed that verse where it was that term was Maya. So, like, I did it. So Vyasadeva was like knower of kind of all the Vedas. So he know that it's not him who did it, but still that thought came like, I did it.
Very nice question.
That's why.
Why it came? Yeah, very nice question. So 2 answers or 2 ways to understand. One standard way from commentary, Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti, I don't remember. So as I told you, there are 4 commentaries that I am reading. Srila Prabhupada. I'm going in sort of reverse chronological order. Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Sri Jiva Goswami, and Sridhar Swami. I can't remember where exactly, but the Lord orchestrates this feeling in the heart of Vedavyasa so that the Srimad Bhagavatam appears. Okay, so it's not Vedavyasa is an avatar, is a Kala of the Lord, Kala Harihi. So how can he have this feeling? Because the Lord wanted the advent of Srimad Bhagavatam, just like in Arjuna. He wanted the advent of Bhagavad Gita. So he got that all those illusions in the chapter 1, which you have studied. I don't want to fight and all that. That is one reason. And the second reason to understand this, and this is true in, so in the first reason, I forget again, the example that was given, very nice examples are given. One very potent example, one is Bhagavad Gita example, one is the example of Balramji. When the Brahma Vimohan Leela occurs, even Balramji cannot figure out that these are all Krishna. Towards the end, he kind of gets a sense. Balramji, who is, direct first expansion of the Lord, even he gets bewildered. So the point is that the knowledge gets covered. The Lord covers one's knowledge with the Yogamaya. So the same happened with Vedavyasa. so that for a particular purpose. And the second way to understand this is that if it can happen to such a learned person, even after knowing apni kya auqat hai, what to speak of us, so we must redouble our efforts. We cannot take a big world hunger project, but we should focus directly on the end goal, which is to do bhakti of Bhagavan Krishna seriously, which is what ultimately gives him the satisfaction. So the message is that, if it can happen to him, why take on all these big goals, world-changing goals? I will end this war, I will end, kya hoga, Reagan, he ended Cold War, great accomplishment, 30 years peace lasted. Now again, Russia is again Cold War. So his great thing lasted 30 years. It's a blip in modern history times, it's a small blip. So what's the point of taking on these big projects? Take on the ultimate project. Otherwise, if for Vyasadeva it could lead to utter failure or feeling of incompleteness, definitely it will happen to us. Apni koi auqat nahi hai unke samne. So that is the teaching. Don't even try material pursuits. Do enough for a family, maintenance of body and family. No need to do any more. Let us see. Anything else? Online? Okay, Mataji. Yes, then we'll end at that question then.
So you said like the Maya covers.
Yoga Maya covers, not Maya.
So, and then you said the example of that Rajasuya Yagya, and then after that they have to Mahabharat. After Pandavas, they did the Rajasuya Yagya, and then have to select one person to be.
Yes.
So that time they had a great discussion and all. So isn't that time also Yoga Maya covered their intelligence, and they couldn't see that Krishna was obvious choice in that time?
Possibly. There is no commentary like that because I have not read any commentary on Mahabharata. I was just reading directly. But this was just my personal realization that, oh, this is how it is hidden. Okay. So yes, possibly it was that was the situation. And Pandavas were, according to Mahabharata, Pandavas were recently at that time introduced to Lord Krishna. The friendship between the Pandavas and Lord Krishna grew deeper over time, and especially when they went into the forest and all that. So, but they were devotees. They are internally they are devotees. But Bhishma Dev was always like, even he couldn't spot, let alone the Pandavas. Even Bhishma Dev didn't spot, even though he was the most authoritative person in that assembly. His word, everybody would agree. So
isn't it he only the person who ultimately told that Krishna should be the?
I don't remember how it. Yeah, I read it many months ago. It's a very interesting portion of Mahabharata. I mean, all of the Mahabharata in Hindi, it is available online. I don't know about English, but Hindi, is the whole thing verse by verse is available. The entire Gita Press edition. You Google for it, you will find the PDFs. In English, no, actually in English, just the verses are available. There is a very nice 2 editions of Mahabharata direct. I mean, of course, there is on Veda base, a abridged version by Krishna Dharma Prabhu that is there, but the full Mahabharata verse by verse by Kishori Mohan Ganguly. You could do a Google search Mahabharata English Kishori Mohan Ganguly or M.N. Datta, Manmath Nath Datta. Very nice English version is there. But the Hindi one is there with the Sanskrit verses, the Gita Press edition. That's what I was reading because I like to kind of see if there's something interesting in the translation, I want to see what the actual Sanskrit says. That kind of gives me, aha, that's what was originally said. So, yeah, there are many such interesting situations where I could see some key words which gave me a very nice insight, like anyway, I'll leave that for a different time. Okay, we will end here. Thank you very much. Granthraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Jai.
Guru Srila
Hare
Prabhupada
Krishna, Prabhuji.
jai. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.